Leonardo DiCaprio has spent most of his life in front of cameras. From the moment he broke into Hollywood, he was labeled a prodigy, a once-in-a-generation talent, someone who didn't just act in movies, but carried them. Awards followed. Box office numbers exploded. His name alone became a global brand. And yet, after decades of success, Leonardo DiCaprio recently admitted something almost no one expected to hear from him: regret. Not the loud kind, not the dramatic kind, but the quiet, reflective kind that only shows up after years of thinking things through. And what makes it even more surprising is who that regret is connected to: Martin Scorsese, the man many believe helped define DiCaprio's legacy. For more than 20 years, DiCaprio and Scorsese formed one of the most powerful creative partnerships Hollywood has ever seen. 6 films, each one darker, bolder, and more ambitious than the last. Gangs of New York introduced a raw, violent edge. The Aviator proved DiCaprio could disappear into real-life legends. The Departed cemented him as a force in crime cinema. The Wolf of Wall Street shattered expectations and sparked endless debate. Killers of the Flower Moon showed a quieter, more restrained side of his craft. From the outside, it looked like a perfect alignment of talent and vision, actor and director operating at the highest possible level. A partnership that younger actors could only dream of. And for years, fans assumed DiCaprio had absorbed everything there was to learn along the way. But recently, Leo pulled back the curtain. During a public discussion, DiCaprio paused and reflected on his career. Not in a self-congratulatory way, not with polished talking points, but honestly, he admitted that when he looks back at his time working with Martin Scorsese, there's one thing he wishes he had done differently. He wishes he had watched more. DiCaprio revealed that he was so focused on acting, so deep inside his characters, that he failed to step outside himself and truly observe Scorsese at work. Day after day, he stood just feet away from a filmmaking legend, watching scenes come to life. Decisions being made in real time, cinematic history forming right in front of him. And yet, he wasn't fully seeing it. At the time, he believed he was doing exactly what was required of him, giving everything to the performance, staying emotionally locked in, living inside the character. That intensity is part of what made his performances unforgettable. But it came at a cost. Only years later did he realize that those moments were lessons he could never fully revisit. According to DiCaprio, every Scorsese set was a masterclass, not a formal one. No lectures, no step-by-step explanations, just pure instinct, experience, and confidence in action. How Scorsese chose where to place the camera, how he shaped tension through movement and silence, how he communicated with his crew using just a look or a few words, how he trusted his gut after decades of storytelling. And DiCaprio admits now that he didn't slow down enough to absorb it. That realization led to another confession, one that surprised fans even more. DiCaprio has said he will never become a director, not because he lacks respect for directing, not because he doesn't love filmmaking, but because he believes he could never reach that level of mastery. He feels directing requires a depth of understanding that he didn't fully build. When he had the chance, for years, people assumed directing was the inevitable next chapter for him. One day, the actor who carried Scorsese's films. The next, the filmmaker telling his own stories. But hearing DiCaprio explain that he feels he missed his opportunity to truly learn behind the camera changed the narrative completely. It no longer felt like a career decision. It felt like acceptance. And this wasn't the first time regret quietly surfaced in DiCaprio's story. Over the years, reports have claimed he nearly turned down roles that went on to define entire generations of cinema. Decisions made early, before he fully understood his own trajectory. But those moments were about choice and timing. This regret is different. This one is about presence. About being so close to greatness that you don't realize how rare the moment truly is. About assuming there will always be more time to learn, more chances to observe, more opportunities to slow down. That's why this confession hit so hard with fans. Because DiCaprio didn't sound like a distant celebrity reflecting from a pedestal. He sounded like someone grappling with time itself, with the realization that some doors don't close loudly. They fade quietly. And what makes the story even more emotional is that the DiCaprio-Scorsese partnership isn't over. Despite everything, they are preparing to work together again. A seventh film. Another chapter in a collaboration that has already reshaped modern cinema. Fans are speculating, unverified, but passionate, that this project could be deeply personal. Some believe DiCaprio's reflection means he's approaching this film differently, watching more, absorbing more, being fully present in ways he wasn't before. Others believe this film could represent a final statement, a closing of the circle between actor and director, a chance to appreciate what remains rather than mourn what was missed. Nothing has been confirmed, but the timing feels meaningful. Because once you acknowledge a regret like this, you don't take the remaining moments for granted. In the end, this story isn't about scandal. It isn't about controversy or failure. It's about something far more human. A reminder that even those who reach the very top can look back and wish they had slowed down, just enough to truly see what was happening around them. Leonardo DiCaprio has the awards, the fame, the respect, the legacy most actors only dream of. But now we know, even he carries a quiet what if. And maybe that's why this story matters. Because it asks a question that goes far beyond Hollywood. If you stood next to greatness every single day, would you recognize it in time?